Good evening, councillors, officers and those who are watching the live stream at home. Welcome to the September Council meeting of the Corangamite Shire. Can we begin with a prayer, please? We ask for guidance and blessing on this council. May the true needs and well-being of our communities be our concern. Help us, who serve as leaders, to remember that all our decisions are made in the best interest of the people, culture and the environment of the Corangamite Shire. Can I introduce the councillors and staff who are joining us this evening? To my left is Deputy Mayor Geraldine Canady, Councillor Joe Beard, Councillor Jamie Vogels, and to my right is Councillor Kate Macon, Councillor Laurie Hickey and Councillor Nick Cole. Our CEO, Mr Andrew Mason, and our directors, Mr David Harrington, Director of Corporate and Community Services. We have Finance Manager Jackie Thomas, Governance Coordinator James Plozza. To my left, we have Director of Works and Services Brooke Love, Director of Sustainability and Development Ms Justine Linley, Mr Rory Neeson is the Manager of Growth and Engagement, and Mr Aaron Moyne, the Manager of Planning and Building. This evening we're bringing council meeting from Skipton, our northernmost town. Council has made a decision over many years to take 2 meetings a year out of Camperdown so that we can visit our other towns, and tonight we are in Skipton. Earlier today we had a briefing on the Wadawurrung Aboriginal Corporation by their CEO Paul Davis and Mr Chase Agarn, and I'm very pleased to welcome Barry Gilson, who is going to give us a welcome to country. Thank you, Barry.
Ayora warayan narik Barry Gilson, Barawarang Akjanok, Mabarian Barawang Galawan, Kimbani Langiwili, Bunjawurakunya Karang Bararang Ja. Hello and welcome to Langiwili, the home of the Wings, or Skipton. This is the home of the Corangamite Balak, a family group, one of the 25 the Wadawurrung had. Corangam means bootlace brush. In the 1800s around here, now you'd probably know, it's a rare plant now, but the miners and the pioneers used to watch us make eel nets out of this bootlace brush. Corangam we call it. Corangam is the same name as a balak also, so it's that's the history of this place here. It's got another couple of words. So they used to make bootlaces out of it, and they stripped it because it became quite popular. So that's one of the histories of this place, apart from bunia, the eels, and the emus also. So our border sort of over that way, Mount Emu and the Emu, Kawea, York Creek, that's part of our borders also. So you got your Corangamite Shire. Korang is language from the Kolak-Nyat. They're another tribe that are around Japarang, Wadawurrung and Kolak-Nyat down there. So that's where your language, their language comes from for the Shire here. Now, I'm a storyteller and an award-winning poet. I won the 2020 Melbourne Poetry Competition. It was an online event. My friend said, "Do you want to go in it?" I said, "No, thanks, I'll be right." But he pushed me into it. We had to make a video. And I bet 1,700 poets, the Australian reigning champion, and the Queensland state champion. I don't even know who they are, but I bet the whole lot of them. I'll never enter anything again because I'm just sort of, I'm good there. But I've been doing that all my life. So I incorporate Dreamtime poetry in with storytelling now, which is giving me great strength and determination to educate people through the word language. So I pay deep respect to my ancestors and homage to them of the past. Without them, I wouldn't be here. Now, we had about 4,000 of us. 1802 is when our colonisation started with the Matthew Flinders Party, transversing across the country from Wah meaning crow feathers. My great-great-great-great-granduncle saw them coming across. 5 men he had with him, and he had with him a cat. The cat's name was Trim. That was the first time a cat was on this country. So 1802. In 1836, William Buckley was ordered by John Batman in a 30-mile radius around Geelong. Well, they call it Geelong now, but if I was to welcome you onto Geelong, you'd have to stand in the middle of the bay, because that's the name of the water there. It's really Corain, meaning come to the sunrise. So he ordered William Buckley, who lived with our tribe for 32 years, a 30-mile radius to collect as many Wadawurrung people round us up, so to speak. Collected 279 of us, put us in a mission, shipped some of us down to Corangamite, some of us down to Framlingham. My great-grandmother was born in Framlingham Mission, so that's where our story comes from. So I welcome all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders here present, and maybe in the video there. And I welcome you all to Langewilly, the home of the winds. It's got great association with Dada Mullen, who is one of Bunjil's sons, the dog-eared one. He's also down at Dog Rocks. That's the home of the winds down there, so a place of the winds. So I usually finish up by doing a song. Do you want to hear a song?
Yeah.
Okay. Didn't take much arm twisting there. I'll just check if they're in tune. They're good. I'm a Wadawurrung man, a narrator, singer, poet, and I'm a postie in Ballarat. I've been for 20 years. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you, Barry. That was absolutely fantastic, and we certainly appreciate your welcome to country. And we know that you have an early start in the morning as a postie, so thank you for making the trip down this evening.
Very good. I'll just finish my tea and I'll be out of here.
Thank you. On behalf of the Council, can I acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land around Corangamite Shire, the Eastern Maar and Wadawurrung people. We pay our respects to all Aboriginal elders and peoples past, present and emerging. Mr CEO, there are no apologies for this evening's meeting. We have a declaration of conflict of interest.
Yes, that's right, Mayor. We've got one declaration conflict from Councillor Vogels in relation to item 9.12, which is the special charge scheme for Grey Street.
Thank you. Councillors, the minutes have been circulated from the meeting held on the 23rd of August. Would somebody like to move those, please? Thank you, Councillor Cole. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Hickey. Any comment or questions? Put it to a vote. All in favour? Carried. There are no deputations or presentations, Mr CEO.
No. Yes.
Thank you. We'll move straight to the agenda, councillors, and the first item is the Audit and Risk Committee Annual Assessment. Mr Harrington, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through you. The Local Government Act requires Council's Audit and Risk Committee to undertake an annual assessment of its performance. The annual assessment will measure against the requirements of the Act and the Audit and Risk Committee Charter. The committee undertook the assessment in August, and it was considered at the September meeting. A further requirement of the Local Government Act is that the Chief Executive Officer tables the assessment at the next council meeting, which is tonight. The results of the assessment were discussed and considered at the committee meeting. Overall, the results were positive. However, there are some areas for improvement, and council officers will work with the committee over the next 12 months to implement these improvement actions. Mayor, it is recommended that the council receive the report.
Thank you, Mr Harrington. There is a recommendation there, council. Someone like to move that recommendation? Councillor Kennedy, thank you. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Hickey. Councillor Kennedy.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you, Mr Harrington, as well for the report. You would note that all the results were rated at a minimum of adequate or above. I will comment that during discussions at our last Audit and Risk Committee meeting, the members remarked that they assessed with a good dose of caution. I know I certainly did, not wishing to overstate any of the standards. So that's not a bad thing, but I do believe the committee conducts its activities in a very sound manner, and that is supported by the fact that even that cautious assessment has landed with quite a good rating. We do have some highly qualified members on the committee, and there is a commitment to constantly seeking improvements, and that comes through quite obviously in our meetings. There is an appetite for further training, and I believe that is a comment on the desire of the committee members to be right across their brief and to do their job to the best of our ability. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Kennedy. Councillor Hickey.
Thanks, Mayor. I just might add that the Audit and Risk Committee ensures that good corporate governance is adhered to right across the whole Shire to protect our values and our vision and our general purpose. Overall, as I agree, the report was very positive, and it means that good governance and audited processes are in place. And I, for one, was certainly not one to go for the 4s and 5s. I think, like most of the surveyed committee members, we sort of went adequate or good. So I think the report has come back very well, and I'm very glad to have seconded this motion.
Thanks, Councillor Hickey. Anything further, councillors? Put to a vote, all in favour? Carried. Item 7.2 is the Audit Risk Committee Biannual Report to Council for September 2022. Mr Harrington, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through you. This report provides Council with a summary of activities undertaken by the Audit and Risk Committee since the last report to Council in March 2022. This report is provided in accordance with the Audit and Risk Committee Charter, but also the Local Government Act, which requires the chairperson to report to Council every 6 months. During the review period, the committee met twice, on the 9th of June and the 8th of September, with the committee membership not varying during this period. A record of attendance and committee activity is provided within the report. The committee made 3 recommendations to Council, which included one in tonight's agenda relating to the signing of the financial and performance statements by councillors. Mayor, it is recommended that Council receive the report.
Thank you, Mr Harrington. Councillors, there's a recommendation. Someone like to move that, please? Councillor Hickey, seconded by Councillor Kennedy. Councillor Hickey.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Yes, this biannual report has been well prepared by the Director, and I thank him very much for the dedication he's gone to producing this. It was interesting that I was indeed an apology for that meeting, for that committee meeting, because I was actually doing training on how to become better at the governance. So it is very interesting to go through the minutes and to read through what transpired on that meeting. I have no hesitation in recommending this Council adopt the Risk and Audit Committee meeting for September 2022.
Thank you, Councillor Hickey. Councillor Kennedy.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I don't think there's anything much further to add. The chairperson of the Audit and Risk Committee has presented a very good report here. Everything's in it. So that's the work we've done. I think it's been well stated, so nothing further to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Canadian. Indeed, as you mentioned earlier, there is some very highly qualified people on the committee, and we're very grateful for their contribution. Councillors, if there's nothing further, can I put that to a vote? All in favour? Carried. Item 7.3 is the Swimming Pool Committee membership for 2020-22 and 2023. Ms Love, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through you, councillors, this report seeks appointment of the nominated members to Council's community asset committees for the 6 swimming pools for the upcoming season. The community asset committees are responsible for acting as a local contact for feedback, providing local input into programming and planning for minor capital improvements to the pools. Each of the pool committees have held their annual general meeting recently and have nominated members to their respective pool committees, and the recommendation is before you, councillors.
Thank you, Ms Love. Councillors, somebody prepared to move the recommendation, please? Councillor Macon, do I have a seconder? Councillor Cole. Councillor Macon.
Thank you. Through you, Madam Mayor. Swimming pool committees play an important role in ensuring the service council delivers is consistent with community needs. They are the local contact for feedback about pool operations. They also help provide local input into programs such as organising movie nights, triathlons, pool parties, swimming club and the likes. As we can see from the report, there has been a bit of a change of committee personnel on each one, which is a pleasing result to see, considering a lot of committees are struggling to find fresh faces to join their committees at the moment. I would like to thank everyone who is stepping away from their respective committees for all their time and effort they have put into them. With a special mention to Chris, Lee and Angelique from the Timboon Swimming Pool Committee for their significant contribution they have provided for over 20 years. Their dedication has ensured the swimming pool remains in good shape for future generations and will continue to be an important place for people to come together and participate in sport and recreation. I wish all the members of these committees a very successful upcoming season, and thank you again for volunteering for this role. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Macon. Councillor Cole, did you have anything to add?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Not a lot, just to say congratulations to the committees run by volunteers, a lot of them, and they're the ones that keep everything going, the volunteers, and it's hard work, sometimes unthankful work, but it's much appreciated by the people that use them. We have 2 of them up here in the north of the Shire, Skipton and Lismore, and both important assets in the community, so thank you.
Terrific. Thanks, Councillor Cole. Anything further, councillors, on this item? Put it to a vote. All in favour? Carried. Item 7.4 is the Timboon Sporting Centre Committee membership for 2022-2023. Ms Love, can you introduce this item, please?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through you, councillors, this report is to endorse the nominated members for the Timboon Sporting Centre Community Asset Committee, who also recently conducted its annual general meeting and have nominated membership for your endorsement. The role of the Timboon Sporting Centre Committee is to support council in its operations of that facility. The recommendation is before you.
Thank you, Ms Love. This is actually for a 3-year term, 2022-2025. Beg your pardon. Someone like to move that recommendation, please? Councillor Macon. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Vogels. Councillor Macon.
Thank you, and through you, Madam Mayor. I had the pleasure of chairing this AGM a few weeks back, and it was nice to see new faces around the table again. As I mentioned before, people on committees is hard to come by. The committee welcomed Rob Matthews as the basketball representative and Matthew Savage as a gym member representative, and it was great to see that both these gentlemen put their hand up for this committee. With fresh new ideas, it's always welcomed around the table. I would like to acknowledge all the people that are still standing on the committee for all their hard work and effort they've put into it. But I'm also looking forward to seeing what the committee come up with programs and has to offer in the coming 3 years. So I look forward to seeing what they can come up to. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Macon. Councillor Vogels.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'll just back in everything Kate said. She's pretty much said it all. It's just good to see representatives from each of the different types of sports at the sporting centre, so everyone knows a bit about what everyone else is up to and try and get on the same page to achieve something. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Vogels. Anything further, councillors? All in favour? Carried. We have no planning reports this evening. Item 9 is officers' reports and 9.1 is the Skipton update. Mr Plozza.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through you. This is a report that details some of the work that has been undertaken in Skipton by Council in partnership with the local community here, as well as some of the stuff that we've got planned for the coming years. Council has a very strong commitment to Skipton and sees it as an important part of the Shire, and I think this is demonstrated by the body of work that's been delivered here in recent years. If I just list off some of the things included in the report, there's an upgrade to the Skipton kindergarten, there's a new skate park, there's a book depot just a few metres away from us, tourism advertising campaigns, it goes on. And there's also money put aside in the budget for things that are in the pipeline, such as a structure plan and things of the like, and the recommendations before you.
Thank you, Mr Plozza. There certainly has been a lot going on in Skipton, and earlier this evening we also had a presentation from the Skipton Football Netball Club about their proposed major capital project here in Skipton. Councillors, his recommendation to accept the report. Someone like to move that? Thank you, Councillor Cole. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Hickey, Councillor Cole.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Certainly Skipton's on the move, but still staying close to Ballarat. That's the main thing. Easy commute to Ballarat and in the country. Skipton's, we've got, as mentioned, the rec reserve. We're trying to get a new building up there which will have all sorts of modern facilities and female-friendly change rooms and are much more improved. It's on the heart of the volcanic lakes and plains, a magic tourist spot. Today we had the opening or unveiling or washing really in the weather of the GPG art platypus rising down Stewart Park, gratefully sponsored by GPG, the wind turbine people, and also the mural on the side of the cafe down there. So we had a tour of the pub, and that's slowly getting itself back together again after the floods, and hopefully will be open soon. We live in hope for the community. So Skipton's definitely rising out of the ashes and keeping going, so congratulations. I'm happy to move this report.
Thanks, Councillor Cole. Councillor Hickey.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't really want to add much to what Councillor Cole has said. Skipton is very much an important part, as an important town in our shire. But anybody who hasn't had a chance to have a look at the platypus rising or the artwork, or indeed the township itself, it's looking quite vibrant at the moment. It'll be great when the hotel gets open again at Christmas time, I think somebody said. I'm not sure about that. So it'll be great to see that happen. And I think I'm very happy to second this report.
Thanks, Councillor Hickey. Anything further, councillors? To a vote, all in favour? Carried. The item 9.2 is 2021-2022 financial statements and performance statement, and I'd like to welcome Ms Jackie Thomas in her new role of shared services as our manager of financial services with Simon Bicari. So welcome, Jackie, to your first council meeting presenting.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through you, the recommendation before you is that Council give in principle approval to the financial statements and performance statements for the year ended 30 June 2022, and that Councillor Kennedy and Councillor Hickey certify those statements. We've worked with RSD Audit, who were appointed as our external auditors by the Victorian Auditor General's Office during the planning, interim and year-end audits in preparing these financial and performance statements. The financial result for the 2022 year was a surplus of $6.8 million. This was higher than our adopted budget of $3.38 million, which was a really positive result for Council. A large factor in this $3.5 million difference is that we had $2.7 million in financial assistance grants that are for the current 22-23 year paid in advance. We also had a $1.5 million favourable decrease in our depreciation expenses. This shows us that the condition of our assets, particularly our roads, are in better condition than predicted. I would like to highlight the change to the unrestricted cash ratio in our performance statement. This has changed from a positive 125% to a negative number, negative 51%. The change in the ratio isn't reflective of a material change in our financial or cash position, but rather because our $49 million in term deposits aren't classed as unrestricted cash for the purposes of the ratio, so they weren't able to be included. Overall, the key financial indicators remain strong, and they are shown in the report before you this evening. The financial statements and the performance statements were considered by Council's Audit and Risk Committee on the 8th of September, and the committee recommends that Council provide in principle approval. Mayor, the recommendation is before you.
Thank you, Ms Thomas. Councillors, someone like to move the recommendation, please? Councillor Beard, thank you. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Cole. Councillor Beard.
Thank you, and through you, Madam Mayor. Firstly, I'd like to congratulate and welcome Ms Thomas on board, and obviously being an existing employee, it's great to see you stepping up to the management role with Mr McCary. So thank you for the report. First and foremost, I'm going to thank and congratulate the finance team, obviously getting this, not only the report, but this document to the council table. It's an incredibly, it is a very important document, not only because it forms part of our annual report, but it's also a legislative requirement, which we know we have to do a lot of these reportings, but I'm grateful that we've got it to where we have. I think the headline in tomorrow's paper will certainly be that Corangamite have hit a massive surplus. I think what often people forget is that there's usually a reason for that, and we've received grant funding through various income streams, grant funding, or various other income streams that we've received out of ordinary, but usually there's an expense allocated to that as well. So even though it looks amazing in black and white that we've got this massive surplus, it's usually balanced. And I think that comes down to the fine and tight, oversight that our finance team continually have year after year, that I think our ratepayers can be really satisfied that Corangamite Shire are doing their due diligence around their spending of money and management of money. I don't want to go into too much detail around the report because Jackie's already done that, but I think the fact that we can continue to report that we've got a great and strong working capital ratio is fabulous. Times are going to get tough as we move into the future year of budgeting. So it's great that we can reflect a good outcome for this last year's term, but also being mindful that we do have to continue to live within our means. And as I said, although it looks like we've done really well and we're sitting on a heap of money, it's actually allocated money. And it's, as I said, it's great for our ratepayers that we're managing our money responsibly. So thank you for the report, and I have no trouble in giving the in support approval for that motion. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Beard. Councillor Cole.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Following on from Councillor Beard's words of wisdom, I'd say the same thing, and I would state that council is no different to any other businesses which are running around the state. We have to run within our means and live within our means, and otherwise things go pear-shaped rather rapidly and quickly. And I congratulate the council officers for keeping this document up to date so that we can live within our means and operate within our means, and that's what we're trying to do.
Thank you, Councillor Cole. Is there further comments, councillors? Well, I think as has been said, we're certainly in a very sound financial position, and thank your team, Mr Harrington, for preparing the statements. I'll move that to the vote if there's nothing further. All in favour? Carried. Item 9.3 is the Economic Growth and Prosperity Framework. Mrs Lindley, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The purpose of this report is to provide an overview of the development of the Corangamite Economic Growth and Prosperity Framework 2022 to 2032, and to seek Council's approval of the terms of reference for a project reference group. Last year, Council reviewed 3 strategies that impact on the economic and social health of businesses and the community. The 3 strategies were the Economic Development Strategy, the Arts and Culture Strategy, and the Events and Festivals Strategy. Following this review, council officers have been working on a project plan to create an integrated economic growth and prosperity framework which will bring together economic industry development, population attraction and retention, the visitor economy, the circular economy, arts and culture and festivals and events, all together in one 10-year plan. The methodology being used aligns with approaches used by both the state and federal governments and has a strong focus on the links between business and industry life cycles and the aspirations and capabilities of our local communities. It involves direct community and business engagement and has been designed to ensure that Council is compliant with recommendations made by the Victorian Auditor-General in 2018 as part of that review into local government and economic development programs. If approved tonight, the engagement program will commence in October with a meeting of the project reference group. Thank you, Madam.
Thank you, Mrs Lindley. Councillors, do I have someone move recommendation to endorse the Economic Growth and Prosperity Framework? Councillor Vogels, seconded by Councillor Canady. Councillor Vogels.
Thank you, through you, Madam Mayor. And I think option A was the officer's recommendation, which is to do it and keep it in-house instead of contracting it out. And I think this planned economic growth and prosperity framework for the Corangamite Shire is without doubt a combination of community, economy and environment that work together to do this. And I thank the Director, Ms Lindley, for a new approach in putting together all these action plans that we've got into a more harmonious sort of direction to help make the Shire prosper in the long term. And this will be a tailored Corangamite specific economic framework that will embrace the diverse and wide range of industries that help make our Shire unique. This framework will place a high emphasis on sustainability and livability and focus on the outcomes that had a better benefit for the wider community. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Vogels. Councillor Canady.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through you. I too support the recommendation under option A. It's a really great overview, and it is a really important project for Corangamite Shire. I do believe it is the right approach that creative industries and festivals are included, and we recognise their role as part of the Shire's economic development direction, in addition to agriculture, commerce and tourism. Our council plan and the 2040 community vision aim for a thriving and prosperous local economy and tourism, local economy and community. It's really important to understand where we're at now and to have a sound focus on the future growth and sustainability of the Shire, and the way this framework is developed will influence that. I really like the idea of the co-design process, which is planned as a vehicle to develop this framework. This is a really prudent approach, I think. It's inclusive and it's wide-ranging. We need the support of expert advice and the data and consultation that we would need to buy in. But who better than our own to tailor this framework to our Shire and our needs? The project plan incorporates a relationship with local businesses and industry and community stakeholders to establish open communication. So we do get the messages from all of those avenues, and that there is insight into the aspirations of the people of Corangamite, the risks and the opportunities from all sides. The consultation and the stakeholder engagement program is broad, so we can have the benefit of expertise, evidence and experience external to the Shire as well as from within. I really like what I'm seeing here. There's a lot of thought that's gone into it, and together with the project reference group, I believe we can get a really great result here. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Canady. Councillors, for the comments, Councillor Beard.
Yes, through you, Madam Mayor, and I want to thank my fellow councillors, Councillor Vogels and Councillor Canady, for their words and for support of this recommendation. Co-design just works. We've seen it work with other strategies in the past and frameworks, and I think Corangamite Shire have got runs on the board already in this space that we can do the work internally ourselves. And I think it also backs our staff to know that we respect and we really appreciate what they've got to say, and they've got the capacity and the capabilities to deliver. So I think it's a great signal to our organisation and to other organisations that you can achieve things if you do it right on your own. And not to mention how much it's significantly going to save dollars that would have else been spent out of our shire. So our ratepayers, I think, should be really pleased with this approach. As I said, co-design has worked. We've seen it work in the past. I'm really excited for this project. I think the fact that there's a project reference group that will be formed, I really encourage anybody out there to get on board. I think if you have any care whatsoever for business, arts and culture, anything in regards to the future of Corangamite Shire, to definitely take a look at this and get involved. And I know, Mayor, you'll be chairing that, and I think it's a really exciting project in your role to be part of. So good luck with it. But I just think this is a great initiative, and I'm really proud as a councillor that we're taking this approach. So thank you. Thank you, Councillor Beard. Councillors, is there anything further? All in favour? Carried. Item 9.4 is the Business Facade Improvement Program for 2022-23. I think it's the 8th year, Mr. Neeson, that we've had this grants on offer. So would you like to introduce the item, please?
Thank you, and through you, Madam Mayor, yes, that's correct. It is the 8th year, and I'm really pleased to present this report on the proposed allocation of funding through the Business Facade Improvement Program. The aim of the program is to encourage businesses located in towns within the Shire to complete improvements works to their facades that help improve the overall streetscape presentations in our Shire. So again, the program's been open to any business that has street frontage in a town in our Shire. Home-based businesses are not eligible to apply. Businesses could apply on a dollar-for-dollar basis to complete the improvement works to their facades, with that amount capped at $3,000. Following the application period, we had 24 applications to the program this year, requesting just under $50,000 of funding, with the total value of works proposed going to over $180,000. The applications to the program were then assessed based on the evaluation criteria, and now a recommendation has been brought before you for your consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Neeson. Councillors, there's a recommendation to approve $42,589 to 22 business facade grants, with the surplus of funds being reallocated to the Small Business Assistance Grant Program. Would someone like to move that motion, please? Thank you, Councillor Macon. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Hickey, thank you. Councillor Macon.
Thank you, and through you, Madam Mayor. The types of works proposed to be completed including cleaning and painting the facade, replacing front windows, new front shop lightings and signs, and to entrance ramps and verandas for all the businesses across the Shire. This grant program is to help owners take pride in their shops and to make a really good first impression on visitors when they visit the Shire. As mentioned, the Facade Improvement Program had a budget of $50,000, and the 22 eligible projects application have requested just over a total of $42,000. Also, along with this, the planning fees for 15 planning permits proposed to be waived by the council as part of the program, and this is approximate cost of $22,000 to the Shire, but any building permits still apply. I look forward to seeing what the improvements these shops have done once they are completed, and getting the shops to take a bit more pride in their facades. So thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Macon. Councillor Hickey.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I think Councillor Macon just about summed up everything, apart from the fact that, that's okay, apart from the fact that I'd just like to say to Mr. Neeson and his team, what a great job you've done in actually being able to get this, these number of businesses to get their assistance, give them the assistance in order to improve their facade. Our Shire is going to be so much better with a bright shop front as people enter the townships, and hopefully they choose to stay a little bit longer. $50,000 may not seem a lot in the overall scheme of all the businesses that are involved, but it does mean a lot with their significant contributions still as well, a lot to our towns. And I know it's not a difficult. I know it's a pretty difficult job. It's not an easy position to be in, to actually determine who gets the funding and who doesn't. So anybody who hasn't, I think, I'd certainly encourage them to speak to the officers and just see why their application wasn't successful. And I encourage them to all have another go and try again, and let's keep this program up and running as well as what it is. So thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Hickey. Councillors, any further comments? To a vote, all in favour? Carried.
Item 9.5 is the Small Business Assistance Program, Mr Neeson.
Thank you again, and through you, Madam Mayor, I'd like to present this report on the proposed allocation of funding through the Small Business Assistance Program. The aim of the Small Business Assistance Program is to encourage businesses, both new and existing, located in the Corangamite Shire, to innovate, adapt, diversify, to encourage new projects and ideas to be completed that have a positive impact both on the business but more broadly on economic activity in the Shire. So the program was open to all small businesses located in the Shire or those planning to relocate within 3 months of receiving a grant, as long as they'd met the criteria for the program. Following an application period, 33 applications were received, requesting just over $100,000 worth of funding, with the total value of works again going over $234,000. The applications to the program were then evaluated based on the program's assessment criteria, and a recommendation has been brought before you for your consideration.
Thank you, Mr Neeson. I'm just checking, I'm not sure, I've got in the recommendation here that it's got, in the second part, combined with a further $6,937 from the unallocated business facade grant. Is that without the GST? Is that why that's less than the 7411 in the previous?
Yes, that's correct.
Report? Yep, okay, thank you. Councillors, recommendation there. Page 133, someone like to move the recommendation, please. Thank you, Councillor Macon. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Canady. Thank you. Councillor Macon.
Thank you, and through you, Madam Mayor. Applications were received from businesses throughout the Shire. They included the agriculture, retail, tourism, hospitality and manufacturing, which is great to see. And I think we did the north and the south. I think nearly everyone from across the Shire got included in this one, so it's even better to see. As Mr Neeson said before, there was 33 applications requesting just over 100,000, and we do need to add a little bit of extra money into it from the Facade grant to make up a little bit of money so we can completely fund the 28 applicants that have been recommended for this funding. I also encourage, as to what Mr Councillor Hickey said before, is that the ones that haven't succeeded, please get in touch with our officers and work with our officers as to why this is the case, and hopefully next time round we can get you in there and get you funding for some for the things you request and need. So thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm happy to have this recommendation go through.
Thanks, Councillor Macon. Councillor Canady.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Again, this has been a really successful program, and I'm really pleased to see that so many businesses are aware of it and using the opportunity to make improvements. But the purpose of this particular grant is for innovation, adaptation or diversification within a business or an existing business or a new one that is planning to come into the Shire. I know that there was a lot of thought put into the allocation of the grants with particular mindfulness towards adherence to the criteria, because that is important. We have different types of grants available, and to be fair to those who make application, I think adhering to the criteria is an important element. But it's really pleasing to be able to help all these businesses, and I think we're going to see some interesting things come out of it. So I'm more than happy to support the recommendation that's put before us, and look forward to seeing some innovation in Corangamite.
Thank you, Councillor Canady. Councillors, anything further? All in favour? It's carried. Item 9.6 is the memorials policy. Ms Love, please.
Thank you. Through you, Madam Mayor. From time to time, Council receives requests from individuals or organisations for the installation of memorial plaques or park furniture, planting of trees in recognition of contributions from family members or residents to the Corangamite Shire. And this policy seeks and does provide a guide for the application and the installation of these memorials for both the applicant and for council. There has not been a significant amount of requests in the past. However, that being said, this policy has provided a sound framework for requests that we have received. The policy as such has only been reviewed with minor amendments and is provided for your consideration tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms Love. Councillors, recommendation to revoke previous policy and adopt the new one. Someone like to move that recommendation? Thank you, Councillor Hickey. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Cole. Thank you, Councillor Hickey.
Thank you, Mayor. As we've just heard, the policy hasn't changed much. However, it is important to have something concrete to stand on as far as a policy goes, and as far as memoriams around our shire. So, in order to get this motion, I'd be very happy to recommend that we adopt it.
Thank you, Councillor Cole.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Following Councillor Hickey's comments, I agree the same way. It's just tightening up the regulations and making it a bit more streamlined and possibly easier. So it needs to be kept in line and in check. So no problems.
Okay, thank you. Councillors, put it to a vote. All in favour? Carried. Item 9.7 is the Records Management Policy for 2022. Mr Harrington, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through you. This report relates to an update to the Records Management Policy. The policy has been reviewed and it has had minor updates applied to ensure the continued best practice in this area. The policy is largely procedural in nature. However, it is important to ensure that Council meets its requirements under the Public Records Act and the Local Government Act. Mayor, there is a recommendation for you.
Thank you, Mr Harrington. Councillors, someone like to move this recommendation, please? Councillor Kennedy, thank you. Councillor Cole. Councillor Kennedy.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I don't have too much to say really. It's largely procedural. Obviously, it's very important to update to reference current legislation, and you know, we want to be sure that our council records are well managed and that best practice is implemented in the effective management of our documents and records. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Kennedy. Councillor Cole.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Once again, it is largely procedural. I think this needs to be kept up to date so that we know when there's a stuff up and Councillor Vogels went wrong, we know who to blame. And history will write it down for you.
Keep the evidence.
Thank you, Councillor Cole. Councillors, nothing further. All those in favour? Carried. Item 9.8 is South West Council's ICT Alliance joint venture establishment. Thank you, Mr Harrington.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through you. This report recommends Council enter into and establish an unincorporated joint venture for the purpose of operating the South West Council's ICT Alliance. Corangamite Shire was successful in partnership with Moyne Shire and Warrnambool City in securing a state government grant of $4.5 million in June 2019 under the Rural Council's Transformation Project. This funding was to implement the business case to transition the respective enterprise resource planning systems of each council into a shared service model. As part of the business case, an appropriate entity structure was considered for administrating the shared service arrangement. An unincorporated joint venture is the preferred option as it represents the least costly and most flexible option. A joint venture agreement has been developed in collaboration with the three councils and in consultation with our legal advisors. The agreement governs the administration of the joint venture and sets out the rules for how the shared service model will operate. The agreement includes governance arrangements, contribution to costs, procurement, dispute resolution and termination. The agreement also describes the appointment of an administrating council that will have responsibility for day-to-day functions of the joint venture agreement. The administrating council will be the Warrnambool City Council. This is an exciting milestone in the project and is helping Corangamite Shire to transform its approach to information and communications technology. The transition to a shared service platform will help to mitigate risk, both financial and operational, whilst delivering a modern system that will facilitate better outcomes for the community through a customer-first approach and enhance customer experiences. Mayor, there's a recommendation for you.
Thank you, Mr. Harrington. It's good to see this project's moving through the processes, and it's been a long time coming, so that's terrific. Someone like to move their recommendation, please? Thank you, Councillor Beard. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Kennedy. Thank you, Councillor Beard.
Thank you, and through you, Madam Mayor, this is an exciting milestone for this part of the project, even though we're not turning the soil just yet. Considering this was first muted back in 2018, which I can see Mr. Harrington nodding his head because I'm pretty sure he was involved with it way back when. And it would be remiss of me not to mention our previous Director of Corporate and Community Services, Mr. David Ray, who was also pivotal in getting this project funded. It was a great initiative, the Rural Council's transformation program, but at the end of the day, the best thing is that 3 councils have come together to realise that we're all doing the same thing, and yet we're duplicating everything we're doing in terms of service sharing, and so let's do it better. So I feel like I'm a massive advocate as a ratepayer tonight, that I'm like, wow, how cool is this? That we've got councils prepared to work together for the benefit of our communities. So this is going to be a significant project that we see in other industries where we talk about shared services, but I think it's quite unique for us. We do things jointly with our neighbouring councils. When it comes, we'll see another project coming up soon around our road construction, but this one is quite significant because it does bring a lot of people together. So the funding was announced in 2019 from memory, but to actually get it to this stage now after a bit of a downplay with COVID, it sort of put things on the back burner for a little while. But it's great to see that the staff have kept chipping away at this to actually get it to where it is now in terms of an agreement, which will just tidy off some loose ends around how the project continues to keep the 3 councils working together. Noting that it's pretty obvious that Warrnambool, as our regional city, and our regional leaders have stepped up to being the administrative council. So I think this agreement will keep them to that. And obviously it just keeps everyone mindful of their roles and responsibilities. I think it's important for our people out there listening to know that there's a lot of strategic benefits that comes with a project just like this around being able to not only do things that we've been currently doing, but look at things that are more flexible in terms of our service offering, and also to meet the demands that are potentially expected of us that we can't currently undertake because of staffing restrictions, or the fact that we just can't get people to provide those services because it's such expertise. The other thing is, which is the most important thing, is that it just remains a cheaper way of doing business when we can work collaborative. And I'm excited by the potential opportunities that will come out of bringing these minds together and having the councils working together. So all in all, it's an exciting project. It's great to see it get to this agreement phase. And yeah, just totally excited, and I'm really wishing everyone all the best that's part of it. And thank you, Mr. Harrington, because I know you've been quite pivotal in the background of getting this to where it is today, so thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Beard. Councillor Kennedy.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And I must say, it's very, very hard to add anything to what Councillor Beard has already said. She speaks so eloquently and fully on things, so thank you. But I'm excited about this venture too. I think it's really, really fantastic, and it certainly has been a long journey from the EOI submitted by Corangamite in 2018, but we're at this point now where we've got an agreement before us. But I do think that the project is a great example of how we can work together with our neighbouring councils, and in an increasingly expensive and complicated space. To have a shared ICT platform is just going to be an absolute benefit to all our 3 councils. This is going to help us position ourselves for greater capacity and scope, and be stronger and more secure in all our operations regarding ICT. And as Councillor Beard said, it will create financial efficiencies and opportunities as well, and make for more effective management of our funding, our public funds, and also efficiencies and opportunity for IT staff as well. Because of the consistency that we'll have across our three councils on this platform, there'll be an opportunity for better career structure and training and retention of talent within the region. So, that can only be of benefit to all of us. So we've got the legal advice and the endorsement of the Joint Venture Governance Committee, and they agree that the unincorporated joint venture is the best fit and represents the least costly and the most flexible option. And I really believe flexibility is a very prudent feature of this agreement. You never know what's ahead of you. You need to have some movement to be able to manage any issues that may arise during the course of the venture. So we know through our business case that we've got a strong financial and structural argument for the change. So I'm very excited to support this recommendation and to see this agreement come through. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Kennedy. Councillor Hickey.
Thanks, Mayor. I'm perhaps not quite as excited as my previous council speakers to go before me. However, I do recognise that as small councils, this shared and joint ventures is one way that we can certainly keep on top of our ICT processes and make sure that we are able to provide a first-class platform for the officers and for us to use. And the ratepayers need to be assured of the fact that this will be a very financial benefit to the community. So yes, it's a very good, it's a very important milestone that we've achieved here.
Certainly is. Thank you, Councillor Hickey. Any further councillors? To a vote, all in favour? Carried. Item 9.9 is the road resealing contract for 2022-2023. Thank you, Ms Love.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through you, following on from a successful collaboration between Council and Warrnambool City Council for the past 7 years, a shared procurement approach has again been undertaken for the forthcoming sealing program for both municipalities for the purpose of improving efficiencies and reducing costs. As such, Warrnambool City Council has agreed to Corangamite Shire engaging a contractor for undertaking these works. Council has undertaken a competitive tender process to recruit a suitably qualified and experienced contractor to undertake the resealing works. 4 tenders have been submitted. All tenders were compliant, are experienced contractors and are pre-qualified for road surfacing with the Department of Transport. The tender has had similar assessment ratings in relation to much of the criteria regarding construction experience, past performance and quality assurance. There was a significant difference between the lowest and the highest tenderer in terms of price. The tender evaluation panel considered that the best value for money is achieved for both municipalities by awarding the tender to Boral Resources. Based on the tender price from Boral, Warrnambool City Council component of works is within that municipality's budget. However, the component for Corangamite Shire it does reflect an increase over our nominated budget for the year. This is largely on the basis of what we've seen, a 32% increase in the bitumen price over the last 12 months. So the recommendation is that Council revises its extent of sealing program from 75 kilometres to 60 kilometres. With this proportion of road network resealed annually, Council will be resurfacing its roads closer to the end of useful life of 15 years as opposed to intervening at 12 years. And we do not believe that that will have a detrimental impact on the overall road network condition. Council's sealed road network condition remains in a stable condition in line with the strategy of maintaining our network to a standard, and this is evidenced by recent condition assessments undertaken on the sealed road network that highlights that 99% of Council's sealed road network is in an acceptable condition. Of course, we will monitor over the next 3 years the impact of deferring some of these roads should this occur in future sealing programs. But for council's benefit, we don't believe there'll be a significant impact on the road condition by reducing the network that is sealed for this coming season. The recommendations before you.
Thank you, Ms Love. So the roads that, the 15 kilometres of roads that we're withdrawing from this contract for this year, they'll be sealed next year, or they'll just be reassessed?
Yes, they'll be
moved. Thank you. Councillors, is recommendation, I have to move the recommendation. Thank you, Councillor Beard. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Vogels. Councillor Beard.
Through you, Madam Mayor, thank you, and thank you, Ms Love, for the report. I don't usually have a rant, but I think I'm going to have a rant. So I don't have an issue with what we have to do. What I have an issue with is that it is going to jeopardise our asset plan. I mean, we monitor that, and we are so proud of how we work to that. The staff are so proud of the management of the asset management plan. That this is where it doesn't sit right with me, is that this is only, I mean, we've seen there's been cost blowouts in other projects, and this isn't going to come down. It's only going to continue to get worse. When we've got a CPI of nearly 10%, we're operating in a CPI environment, a rate capping environment of 1.75%, throw in inflation costs. We're always going to be going uphill with this, and at the end of the day, our number one expectancy that comes from our ratepayers is roads. And so I think I know the staff will monitor this really closely, but I'm not happy that there is going to be a detriment in terms of the sealing of the roads that get done. And we don't really have a choice at the moment, but I think it's our role as councillors to advocate continually about the cost inflations that are occurring and how it's not sustainable to particularly rural councils like ours. I know that you're doing significant work at an MAV level, and I actually gave the CEO a bit of an earful earlier about how he's a great advocate at state government level too, that we need to be really quite vocal in this area, because as I said, the expectancy from our ratepayers is the roads, amongst other things, but that's certainly when we have our customer satisfaction survey, this is what they expect from us. And if we have to jeopardise what we've always been so proud of is around how we manage our road network, meaning our own local roads, then this is going to be something that could undo us in years to come. So I will, as I said, support this recommendation because it's still a good deal compared to what it could have been, but we do have to be really mindful of the implications of this going forward.
Thank you, Councillor Beard, and I do agree with you. I think that the fact the rate cap's set on CPI is a basket of groceries. It's not a ton of bitumen, which impacts, as you mentioned, rural councils, particularly those with large road networks. Totally agree with you, Councillor Vogels.
Thank you, through you, Madam Mayor.
You're having a rant with me.
I'm not having a rant. I'm definitely not going to disagree when I'm sitting this close to you.
I don't normally rant. Sorry.
That's all fine. I'll back in Joe's comments, but also thank Ms Love. And I think we do need to keep within budget, although it is hard, and it obviously needs a lot more funding to come through from state and federal government to help us out. We get further and further behind with our asset renewals, but I think we're better to stick within budget and push it out than to blow the budget. It's always the best option. Not ideal, but I think that's just what we have to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Vogels. Councillors, any further? All those in favour? It's carried. Item 9.10 is contract 2023003 earthworks plant hire at the landfill. Mrs Lindley, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The purpose of this report is to award contract 2023003 Corangamite Regional Landfill Earthworks Plant Hire for the provision of plant hire, which is wet hire equipment, which comes with an operator, and associated services for earthworks at the Corangamite Regional Landfill. Tenders were sought from plant hire companies to form a list of wet hire plant equipment and operators with appropriate experience and capability for inclusion on the Shire's list of suppliers for landfill earthworks. This list will enable Council to select the most suitable plant and labour at the most advantageous rate for landfill-related earthworks. When selecting suppliers, the current location of equipment and the ability to provide services urgently is also taken into consideration. The specialised plant items and equipment are essential for construction works at the landfill to make sure that we adhere to relevant EPA standards. 13 tenders were received and assessed for compliance. 8 of the 13 tenders complied with the specification and were considered in accordance with the Local Government Act, with Council's procurement policy and the evaluation criteria listed in the tender document. Following that evaluation, officers recommend that 6 firms be placed on the panel of approved tenderers. The evaluation report has been provided separately to councillors. The 6 firms are Waldig Civil Construction, Goldsmith Civil and Environment, Armistead Earth Moving Proprietary Limited, McLeod Levelling, WA Molan and S&S Excavations. Thank you, Madam.
Thank you, Mrs. Lindley. Councillors, someone like to move that recommendation, please? Thank you, Councillor Hickey. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Vogels. Councillor Hickey?
Yes, thanks, Mayor. It's great to see that we have got operators within our Shire who are able to successfully tender and receive nominations or acceptance of these awards, given on their plant quality and their ability to be able to deliver the services. So yes, I'd move that. I recommend this motion be accepted.
Thank you, Councillor Hickey. Councillor Vogels.
Yeah, I'll just back in Councillor Hickey. Obviously, the best are chosen for the job. So, do you want to? Could I get Director Lindley to clarify the difference between wet hire and dry hire?
Wet hire, effectively, through you, Madam Mayor, comes with an operator.
So, bums in seats.
Yes.
Rightio. So that's good. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Vogels. Anything further, councillors? All in favour? Carried. Item 9.11 is a special charge scheme final costs for various footpaths. Mrs. Love, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through you, Council in partnership with adjoining landowners delivered 3 footpaths in the last financial year, and approval is now sought for Council to vary the cost of the special charge schemes declared in December last year, because the costs have been finalised and the final costs are less than those that were estimated. The minor cost savings are proposed to be passed on to the property owners who contributed to the schemes, and the recommendation is there before you.
Thank you, Ms. Love. I think that Mr. Kelly in our assets department does really well with these, considering that those estimated costs would have been set many months ago, and to come in as the budget, even though it's only a small amount, is still much better than going over budget as we've seen this evening. Councillors, someone like to move that recommendation, please? Thank you, Councillor Beard, and seconded Councillor Kennedy. Councillor Beard.
Through you, Madam Mayor, and thank you. I think Mr. Kelly is yet to make a liar out of me, because I think when we have our on-site meetings with our property owners, I usually do have a tendency to say that it's always the worst case scenario that he produces when he gives the costings, and yet again he's come back with a cost saving. So I'm sure those residents will be very pleased with that, and it's just another great outcome that we can deliver projects such as a really important I guess a critical part of network, which is footpaths, that people really appreciate in the community. So it's great that they can be of benefit to not only boots on the ground, but also in terms of monetary value too. So that's a great reflection on the management of these projects. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Beard. Councillor Kennedy.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Not too much more to say other than to thank the residents for participating in this scheme, because it's been a great success in enabling us to deliver footpath projects around our towns, and you know, they're always highly appreciated and of real value wherever they've been laid down. So it's clear that there's been very efficient management of the projects, and I need to thank Mr. Kelly and the Manager Works and Services for that. I'm very pleased to support this recommendation to return those cost savings to the property owners, even though they are small, but they're savings, and we're pleased to be able to return them to the participating property owners. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Kennedy. Anything further, councillors? All in favour? Carried. Item 9.12, Councillor Vocals, I believe you have a conflict of interest in this item.
I do, thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. I'll ask you to leave the chamber. Councillors, this is a special charge scheme for a new footpath on the southern side of Grey Street, Terang. Ms Love.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor, and through you, councillors, this report proposes that a special charge scheme be declared for the installation of the concrete footpath on the southern side of Grey Street between Escort Street and Thompson Street in Terang. The owners have indicated their support for the proposal, and council officers are recommending that a special charge scheme be declared. Given the community benefit and amenity and access to the abutting property owners, it is recommended that council contribute 75% of the footpath costs, and that 25% is borne by the abutting owners. There is other work that is part of the project that wouldn't be included in the special charge scheme, such as curbs with pram crossing installations at the intersections, and these will be funded by council's allocation as well. The recommendation is before you.
Thank you, Ms Love. Councillors, someone like to move that recommendation? Councillor Kennedy, do I have a seconder? Councillor Hickey. Councillor Kennedy.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And again, this is another example of the success of this special charge scheme and the delivery of footpath projects that are improving access and improving livability in our towns. They are highly desirable in our communities, and the new footpaths provide a really worthwhile everyday bonus to all the users. So it is, as Ms Love said, this particular project is deemed to be of very high benefit to the Terang community, and I believe that, and I know in that particular part of town there are a lot of people that walk to the town centre, and that would be a very valuable access point for those users. So it's really pleasing that council can provide 75% of the total cost in this case, and only asking 25% of the abutting property owners. So I do wish to thank those property owners too for their participation in the scheme, and it's going to be a real bonus to the Terang community to have that footpath installed. So I support the recommendation as it's put. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Kennedy. Councillor Hickey.
Thank you, Mayor. It's just it's a great initiative, and thank you very much to the participants for making a significant contribution of the 25% of the cost of the footpath. And these footpaths right across our whole Shire towns are not so much only a method of destination, but also of a way to keep fit too. So by walking, it's great to be able to see, and once the weather takes up a bit more too, it'll be great to see these footpaths chock-a-block full of people walking around. So I have no hesitation in supporting this motion.
Thank you, Councillor Hickey, and I do note that there is, there was one of the participating property owners who expressed concern about how they were going to afford this this contribution, and certainly sympathise with them and encourage them to get in touch with Paul Coverdale, our Rates Finance Officer, and we do offer payment plans of 20 instalments over 5 years, and it's at the rate of the Reserve Bank of Australia rate plus 1%, so it's quite low interest rates. That might even still be insurmountable for them to afford, but perhaps we can work out some other methods of payment. So please, we don't want to bring any undue stress onto anybody, and we certainly urge them to get in touch with our Rates and Finance Department. Councillors, if there's nothing further, all in favour? Carried. Thanks, Mrs. Love. Councillors, item 9.13 is the quick response grants allocation for September 2022. Mr. Neeson.
Thank you, and through you, Madam Mayor, I'd like to present this report to consider allocations for the September 2022 allocation of funds under the Quick Response Grants Program. So the Quick Response Grants Program is beneficial in providing support to the community, especially when they're not able to access some of our normal funding programs, such as our community enabling events and festivals, facilities or environmental grant programs. This month we have 4 applications that have been received, that have been evaluated on the program's assessment criteria, and now a recommendation has been brought before you for your consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Neeson. Councillors, someone like to move the motion? Councillors? Oh, you blinked first. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Macon, thank you. Councillor Cole.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Once again, I have this job, and it's a good job. I do notice it's spread around all the points of the Shire. I know that Timboon Bowling Club are after a speaker. From what I know of Timboon people, most of them wouldn't need a speaker. And here everywhere. But no, it's good to see these things. As I've said many times before, they're small grants, but they help small organisations do a lot and just keep things ticking along and give them a bit of heart to keep going to with things. So it's always worth it. So I have no trouble moving.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councillor Cole. Councillor Macon?
I have nothing further to add, thank you. I think Councillor Cole summed it up quite nicely, thank you.
Anything further, councillors? All in favour? Carried. Item 10 is other business, and quite unusually there's a motion in other business that I would like to move, and it's that Council 1 thanks the State Government for its investment in the Warrnambool to Melbourne railway line to enable the use of velocity trains. 2, expresses its concern that the catering service currently offered on V-Line services will be discontinued with the implementation of velocity trains. And 3, instruct the Corangamite Shire CEO to write to the Minister for Public Transport, the Honourable Ben Carroll, advocating for the retention of the catering service into the future. Do I have a seconder for that motion, please? Councillor Canady, thank you. The reason that I put this motion up is that I have been lobbied by a group of residents in Terang who are very concerned about the withdrawal of the catering services on the velocity trains from Warrnambool to Melbourne. And I think that we can't forget that this train actually services passengers from Mount Gambier, Portland, who come through by bus to Warrnambool before boarding the train. So, you know, it's great that we've been advocating for velocity trains for a number of years. That's fantastic to see them coming on board, particularly around the issues that we've been advocating on behalf of people who have limited mobility, and the fact that they haven't been able to access the train service at all times because on occasions the car with the all abilities access toilets aren't available. So on that side of things, velocity trains is going to be, you know, great benefit. However, it is coming at a cost of losing some catering services. So I'd like to think that the state government is considering how they can address this issue, whether it's on station snack bars or machines on trains. I'm not really sure, because I know that to put in the snack bar is going to take up a number of seats, but I think it really is still an important thing that country people shouldn't have to miss out on. So Councillor Canavy, did you have anything you'd like to add?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yes, just to add to what you said, because of the time frames that travellers need to adhere to when they're on the train, it is really awkward for them to access food. You know, some of them are coming from Portland and Mount Gambier, as Mayor Castrone said, and you know, it's very, very early in the morning. There's nothing open to you know, to purchase any food, and quite often when you're catching the train in Melbourne, it's right on dinner time. So you know, if you had an appointment in the city, or you know, whatever you're business has been in the city, it's not always convenient. The time frame doesn't allow for purchase of food before you board the train. So, you know, these travellers have got, you know, 3, 4 and you know, at least hours to travel before they reach their destination. So it really does need to be considered and a solution found. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Kennedy, for your support. Councillors, is there any further comments? I'll put the motion to a vote. All in favour? Carried. Thank you. Item 10.2, again, is a motion that I put to the Council. It's a condolence motion on the passing of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. It reads that Council 1 expresses its deepest regret and grief at the death of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, conveys its sincere condolences to His Majesty the King Charles III and other members of the royal family in their bereavement, and affirms the great affection and esteem in which Her Majesty was held, and expresses gratitude for her life of exceptional public service. Councillors, I'll move that motion. Can I have someone to second it, please? Councillor Vogel. I think it just goes without saying what Her Majesty did over, 70 years was absolutely outstanding, and I think we saw that, just only a couple of days before her passing is that she was still carrying out her duties, which were quite remarkable. And I think people have said, it feels like you're losing your grandmother. She's always been part of your lives for, forever and a day, and you didn't think that this time would come. So a very sad moment, I think. Councillor Vogels.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yeah, not much to add on to that. She's been around for a long time. I think she's seen a few nicks in her time that have been under her rules. So anyway, we're moving on to King Charles III. So we'll see the coins change and the photo in the council chambers, I'm guessing.
It will do
one
in
day.
time. Yes, I'm sure it will.
Put dibs on the old Queen one if it comes up first. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Vogels. Councillor Beard.
Through you, Madam Mayor, and thank you for this this motion. And probably just a reminder, I've had a couple of questions in my community about what the community are to do if they've got the Queen Elizabeth portrait or photo hanging in community facility buildings and that we've been told that it's to stay put until further notice, obviously until the coronation, I'm assuming, of King Charles. But just my sheer, I don't know how this, because we've never normally had to go through this before, but is this something that we would normally put in a letter to the governor as it so it gets recorded officially, or how does this actually play out?
Well, this is the motion that it is, but if you want to send a letter to the government, to the Governor General.
My question, I just didn't know if that's something just to formalise it, or I know that it's a motion here with us, but I just didn't know if that was something that was typically done. But I'm happy with this.
I can't comment on what's typically done because I haven't done this before either.
Nick, what was that last time?
Councillor Cole. No, I'm supportive of this. I just wasn't sure through my naivety whether something more formal had to occur.
And I must say that Councillor Kennedy and myself took part in a commemorative service at St Paul's in Camperdown last Wednesday night, which there was certainly a number of people there, which was great to see. Councillor Hickey.
Thank you, Mayor. It's fairly extraordinary that Queen Elizabeth II has been in governance for 70 years, and in that time she has remained as popular from the first day as what she was at the second day, the last day, and she's always conducted herself with elegance and grace. And yes, it does feel like we've lost someone dear to our family, and yes, I'd like to support this motion too.
Thank you. Councillor Kennedy.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yes, it certainly was an absolutely remarkable commitment to duty, and she carried out her role with such grace and dignity, and I feel her service absolutely deserves recognition.
Thank you. Any further, councillors? I'll put it to a vote. All in favour? Carried. Thank you, councillors. Councillors, is there any other items of other business to be raised this evening? No. Thank you. Item 11 is open forum, and Mr. CEO, I think there was one item that was submitted for open forum.
Yes, that's correct, Mayor, and through you, Mr. Alan Fleming from the Camperdown RSL was not able to join us in Skipton, but has requested that the community be alerted to the fact that the Camperdown RSL is quite short of volunteers, and that they will be hosting a community meeting on the 4th of October at the RSL Hall in Camperdown at 7 p.m. And at that meeting, people who are interested in volunteering or assisting the Camperdown RSL Club will be provided with some more information. So if people do need more information about that meeting on the 4th of October, they can contact Alan Fleming at the Camperdown RSL. Yep. So that's all we had, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mason. Councillors, we have some confidential items to deal with, so can I ask someone to move a motion to suspend standing orders, please? Thank you, Councillor Beard and Councillor Macon. All in favour? Carried. At this point of time, I'd like to thank all those that have joined us online, and we'll be back in Camperdown for our October meeting. Thank you for watching.